In Unit 4, we're going to see America continue to grow, continue to prosper. There's going to be a lot of changes during this part of American history. Politically, this age of Jackson, we're going to see some changes in the practice of democracy, especially in the powers of the office of the president. We're also going to see America continue to pursue its manifest destiny to spread out and extend to the West. As we begin this unit, we'll first of all kind of look at the different regions of the country and how they're developing. In the north, the industrial revolution's in full swing. The cities are growing, business is booming, new inventions in technology are driving progress. But at the same time, we are starting to see some of the problems of these growing urban centers and the plight of the industrial workers. And eventually that's going to cause a need for reform. Down south, the need for reform there to us in the 21st century is pretty obvious. It wasn't as obvious to them back then. The issue of slavery is growing in the United States during the 1840s, leading into the 1850s. And many people in the South believe it's necessary for their agrarian society to exist. At the top of the society, you have the aristocrats, the plantation owners, and you'll be reading about their paternalistic obligation, what they believed their responsibility was to lead both not only their slaves, but also the majority of the free white society who didn't have the power and influence that they did. The majority of Southerners that are not rich plantation owners, they're farmers for the most part. The South doesn't have the big cities and the industry that you have up north. And of course, you also have a very large population of African American slaves. And you'll read about the different situations they might find themselves in, whether field hands or house servants or urban slaves. Their plight might be very different. The conditions might be better or worse depending on what role they were assigned. But in all of these roles, they were denied their freedom. And as we're going to see, this is going to be a growing issue in America, which eventually will be one of the big reasons that the country will be divided. And then the third region of the country is the western frontier. Whether you're in the northern or the southern part of the frontier, life is very similar. You're trying to subsist, to survive on your own without the luxury of big cities to trade in and to purchase materials. You're pretty much on your own in defense. You're hoping for better roads. You're hoping for better protection from Indians. And the frontier is just going to continue to expand during this unit. Politically, there's some big changes coming. We're leaving the era of good feeling and we're seeing that old Jeffersonian Democratic Republican Party splinter as political divisiveness leads to the birth of the modern Democratic Party with Andrew Jackson at its center. Jackson's going to be a very divisive leader. He will be the most powerful president that we've seen to that point. He'll set an example for future presidents. The presidency will never be the same after a headstrong Jackson takes control and shows future executives how to lead through force of will. There really won't be another president as powerful as Jackson for quite some time. We'll also see during this unit America finally achieve a large portion of its manifest destiny. Settlers are heading west, many to the Oregon Territory, many are heading across the border into northern Mexico to the province of Tejas. Eventually a revolution will occur there and the Republic of Texas will be born and eventually annexed to the Union. Once it's annexed to the Union, that will cause a war with Mexico, in which the United States will seize even more territory from Mexico. And as we end the unit, America will have achieved much, will have grown greatly, but the seeds of its final test of the Civil War will finally be planted as these new territories now will beg a question. Are they going to be open to slavery or closed to slavery? And that issue eventually is going to lead into Unit 5, which will bring us to a civil war. So look for those seeds to be planted in Unit 4, which eventually are taking us not only to greatness as a nation, to a larger, more powerful country, but also to the point of a civil war.